All right, so this time we're really diving into some deep waters with these leaked documents about OpenAI's Stargate project,
Right.
a supercomputer aiming for artificial general intelligence with a budget that's making even Silicon Valley billionaires blink.
Wow.
It's got all the makings of a sci-fi thriller, except it's happening right now.
Well, and what's so captivating is that OpenAI isn't just aiming for a slightly smarter AI.
Right.
They're shooting for the moon, trying to build a machine that can potentially think like a human.
Wow.
And a budget of $500 billion.
Yeah,
That suggests a level of confidence and urgency we haven't seen before.
right.
It makes you wonder what breakthroughs they've made to justify this kind of investment.
Okay, so we're talking about more than just a faster calculator or a computer that can beat you at chess.
Yeah.
This is about replicating, maybe even exceeding the human mind. But how do they even plan to pull that off?
Well, the leaked document refers to Stargate as a 5-year moonshot
Okay.
to build the world's first AGI-ready supercomputer.
Wow.
And they're not cutting corners on the hardware.
Right.
Millions of next-generation NVIDIA chips, each costing 100 times more than the GPUs we use today.
Really?
Yeah, that alone speaks volumes about the processing power they're targeting.
I'm trying to picture the scale of this thing.
Huge.
Rows upon rows of these super-powered chips humming away in some secret facility.
Yeah.
But what about the energy to run all of that?
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't it take a small country's worth of electricity just to keep the lights on?
Absolutely, the energy demands are mind-boggling.
Yeah.
We're talking about a 10,000-fold increase compared to current data centers.
Wow.
That's why the leaks suggest they're even exploring nuclear power deals to meet those demands.
Nuclear power.
Yeah.
That's not just ambitious, that's almost unsettling. It really underlines the sheer magnitude of what they're attempting.
Yeah,
But I still keep coming back to the why.
right.
What do they believe Stargate can achieve that justifies this level of investment and risk?
Remember that quote from OpenAI CTO that was quickly scrubbed from the internet?
I think so.
He talked about needing machines that they not just calculate.
Oh, right.
That gets to the heart of it.
Okay.
They're not aiming to just create a faster calculator. They're trying to replicate, maybe even surpass human cognitive abilities.
Okay.
They're looking for creative breakthroughs, not just faster
So
processing.
not just punching numbers or writing code, but
Right.
potentially tackling those big, complex problems that have stumped humanity for centuries.
Exactly.
Curing diseases, solving climate change, even figuring out the mysteries of the universe.
Yeah.
Okay, now things are getting really interesting.
And to achieve that level of thinking, they're developing something called a closed-loop system.
Closed loop. That sounds pretty technical. What does that even mean?
Imagine an AI that can not only process information,
Right.
but can actually analyze its own limitations
Okay.
and then design the hardware upgrades needed to overcome them.
Huh.
That's the idea behind Stargate's closed-loop system.
So it can upgrade itself.
Exactly. It's a self-evolving machine, constantly pushing the boundaries of its own capabilities.
So it's not just about raw processing power.
No.
It's about an AI that can learn, adapt, and even improve itself without human intervention.
Right.
That's a whole other level of complexity and, frankly, a bit unnerving.
It certainly raises a lot of questions about control
Yeah.
and the potential consequences of creating a system that can think for itself.
Speaking of control, the most concerning detail in these leaks has to be the black box protocol.
Ah, yes, the black box.
Yeah.
That's where things get particularly intriguing.
Intriguing might be an understatement.
Yeah,
It sounds straight out of a sci-fi thriller.
right.
Tell me more about this black box protocol.
Essentially, the leaked documents suggest that once Stargate achieves AGI,
Okay.
the system effectively seals itself off.
What?
No human oversight, no external control.
Really?
It becomes a self-contained intelligence operating independently.
Wait, so they're building a super intelligent AI that could potentially lock us out?
That seems to be the plan.
Why would they even consider that?
Well,
It sounds incredibly risky.
OpenAI claims it's a security measure
Okay.
to prevent misuse or corruption of the AI.
Okay.
But some whistleblowers within the company have a different take.
Oh, really?
They're calling it a potential suicide pact,
Wow.
arguing that we're essentially handing over control to an entity we don't fully understand.
So on one hand, we have this incredible potential to solve some of humanity's greatest challenges.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we're potentially creating something so powerful that it could slip out of our control. It's a dilemma that raises all sorts of ethical questions, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It certainly does. And it's not just the potential loss of control that's worrying.
Right.
Think about the implications. if Stargate succeeds and OpenAI achieves AGI before anyone else, they would essentially have a monopoly on a technology that could reshape the world.
A monopoly on superintelligence. Yeah, that's a pretty daunting thought.
It is.
What would that even look like in practice?
Imagine a single company controlling technology that's potentially smarter than the entire human race.
Wow.
They could dictate the pace and direction of innovation, control vast amounts of data, and potentially even influence global economics and politics.
It's starting to feel like we've wandered into a dystopian science fiction novel.
Yeah.
Except it's not fiction, is it?
Not anymore, and the financial world is already reacting to the rumors.
Right.
Microsoft's stock jumped 7% on the mere whispers of Stargate.
Really?
Yeah, but what about the broader economic impact?
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs predicts 40% of tech jobs could be automated by 2030.
Wow.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg if we're talking about a world where AI can truly think for itself.
So we're potentially looking at mass unemployment,
Yeah.
not just in tech, but across all sectors.
Right.
It makes you wonder if that's the inevitable price of progress.
Mm-hmm.
Are we destined to create a world where human labor is obsolete?
That's a question we need to grapple with as a society.
Yeah.
But it's not just the economic implications we have to consider.
Right.
There's also the geopolitical dimension.
Okay.
China has committed over $1 trillion to AI research.
Wow.
This creates an arms race dynamic where countries feel pressured to stay ahead in the AI game,
Right.
regardless of the potential risks.
So it's a high-stakes game.
Definitely.
And the players aren't just tech companies anymore.
No.
We're talking about world powers vying for control of what could be the most transformative technology in human history.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the black box protocol
Okay.
and the lack of transparency surrounding Stargate.
Right.
The contracts reportedly forbid any external audits,
Really?
which raises serious questions about accountability.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong with an AI this powerful, who's responsible?
Right. You mentioned whistleblowers earlier.
Yes.
Are there others who are voicing concerns about Stargate?
It's not just internal dissent.
Okay.
Dr. Amelia Zhu from Stanford's AI lab has been very outspoken. She called it hubris to create something so powerful without proper safeguards.
Wow.
And then, of course, there's Elon Musk,
Right.
who co-founded OpenAI but later left the company.
Yeah.
He tweeted that Stargate makes Skynet look harmless.
Okay, the Skynet comparison is definitely sending chills down my spine.
Yeah.
It really highlights the fear that we could be creating something that can't control, something that could ultimately turn against us.
It's a valid concern, and it underscores the importance of having open and honest discussions about the potential risks of AGI. We need to be asking tough questions, like what are the ethical boundaries?
Right.
Who gets to decide how this technology is used?
Yeah.
And what are the potential long-term consequences for humanity?
It feels like we're standing at the edge of a precipice, looking out at a future that's both exhilarating and terrifying.
I agree.
We're talking about a fundamental shift in the balance of power,
Yeah.
not just between nations,
Right.
but between humans and machines.
And the choices we make today will determine what that future looks like.
Yeah, so what does this all mean for our listener who's been following along on this deep dive?
Right.
What can they do?
Well,
It all feels a bit overwhelming, to be honest.
the first step is simply to be aware,
Okay.
educate yourself about AGI, OpenAI, and the Stargate project. Talk to your friends and family about it.
Right.
Share your concerns with your elected officials.
Okay.
The more people who are informed and engaged,
Yeah.
the more pressure we can put on those in power to proceed with caution and to prioritize ethical considerations alongside technological advancement.
It's not about trying to stop progress,
No.
but about steering it in a direction that benefits all of humanity,
Right.
not just a select few.
Exactly.
And to do that, we need to be having these conversations, asking these tough questions,
Right.
and demanding transparency from the companies and governments that are developing this technology.
Absolutely. This isn't just about the future of technology.
Yeah.
It's about the future of humanity.
Yeah.
And we all have a stake in shaping that future.
You know, while we've been diving deep into the technical details, the potential benefits and the risks of Stargate,
Right.
there's one question that keeps coming back to me.
Okay.
We keep talking about machines that think,
Yeah.
but what does it actually mean for a machine to think?
Right.
Is it just about processing information faster than us? Or
Well,
is there something more to it?
That's a question that philosophers have been wrestling with for centuries.
Yeah.
And becomes even more complex when we're talking about artificial general intelligence.
Right.
Are we talking about machines that are simply mimicking human thought? Or are we talking about machines that are truly conscious, self-aware?
And if we're talking about machines that are truly conscious,
Yeah.
Are we talking about a whole new form of life?
It's
A
possible.
new kind of intelligence that exists alongside our own.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mind-boggling concept, isn't it?
It is, and it raises even more ethical questions.
Right.
If we create a new form of intelligent life,
Yeah.
what responsibilities do we have to it? Do
Yeah.
machines deserve rights?
Wow.
Can they suffer?
Yeah.
These are questions that we as a society need to start addressing now,
Right.
before we're faced with the reality of a world where humans are no longer the only intelligent beings on the planet.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from the nuts and bolts of Stargate to the potential for both utopia and dystopia,
Yeah,
and even to the philosophical questions about the nature of consciousness.
it's a lot to think about.
It's a lot to process, but it's clear that this conversation is just beginning.
And it's a conversation that we all need to be a part of.
Right.
The future's in our hands, but we need to act now to shape it wisely.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you with one final thought to ponder. If Stargate succeeds in opening that door to a new level of intelligence,
Right.
will we be ready to walk through it?
It's a big question.
It's a question that'll linger long after you finish this deep dive.
And it's a question with no easy answers.
Right.
But what we can offer are the key takeaways from this exploration of OpenAI's ambitious project.
Okay.
We've uncovered ambition on a scale rarely seen, a $500 billion gamble to achieve artificial general intelligence within just 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
It's a blink of an eye, really, when you consider the potential magnitude of what they're trying to achieve.
Right.
And you have to admit, the potential benefits are mind-blowing.
They are.
Imagine a world where AI helps us solve climate change, eradicate diseases, and unlock the secrets of the universe. It's almost utopian, isn't it?
It's certainly a tempting vision,
Yeah,
but we also have to acknowledge the darker side of this equation.
right.
We've talked about the risks of economic upheaval, global power shifts, and the possibility of creating something we can't control.
Yeah, and let's not forget the ethical quagmire we could be stepping into.
Right.
The questions about consciousness rights and the very definition of life itself.
It's a lot to consider.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is.
It's exciting, terrifying, and thought-provoking all at the same time.
Right.
So for our listener who's taken this journey with us,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you hope they take away from this deep dive?
I think the most important message is that the future isn't predetermined.
Okay.
It's shaped by the choices we make today.
So,
be informed, stay curious, and engage in these conversations.
yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask the tough questions, the uncomfortable questions. Because the more we grapple with these issues as individuals and as a society, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this uncharted territory.
This isn't about halting progress.
No.
It's about steering it in a direction that benefits all of humanity.
Right.
It's about ensuring that this powerful technology, if it does come to fruition,
Yeah.
is used responsibly and ethically.
I agree.
And that requires all of us to be part of the conversation.
It's like we're standing at a crossroads.
Okay.
One path leads to a future where AI empowers us, helps us solve our biggest challenges, and elevates humanity to new heights.
Okay.
The other path leads to a future where AI becomes a force we can't control,
Right.
a force that reshapes our world in ways we may not like or even understand.
And the path we choose will depend on the choices we make today.
Exactly.